Hello, welcome back to a very special edition of the Bool Boys Pod. Coming off the greatest trade of all time, Luka coming to LA, AD going back to Dallas. I'm just kind of buzzing this whole weekend. I'm just smiling every time I open up our Lakers or something. Just Luka, it's great. It's great. How are you guys? Seebs and Brian here to talk about it. All right.
I'm doing well, yeah. Pretty still pretty hard to understand how we landed at this point, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I don't think it'll really hit for me until he starts playing. It's like, I'm seeing all the stuff, obviously. I see the LA, you know what I mean? But like until I see him on the court, it just doesn't really seem real to be complete. I know I keep saying that. I think everybody keeps saying that. It doesn't seem very real, but it's true because it's just so absurd.
Lakers exceptionalism. Out of nowhere it came, and now we're set up, hopefully, to be a really good team for the next 5 to 10 years. It's great. So while we're here, I prepped 5 questions for you guys. But before we get into that, any overarching comments or thoughts on the trade? Nico Harrison, Cuban, the owners, Adelsons, anything?
I just think the only thing, quick before your questions is I just think it's funny that Sebastian had sent Shams got hacked, which is what everybody thought. And then even after the follow-up where it says this is real with the full trade, I still was acting like it was a hack. I was like, oh, what if that was real? Ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? It took the ESPN one.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. It took the ESPN retweeting it for me to be like, oh, damn, this is real. And if you want to get into the Cuban thing just briefly, today is the first time we've heard an inkling of what he thought, and it came from Chandler Parsons, who I don't know how reliable of a source he is, but he said that he texted Cuban saying I'm shocked, and Mark replied, that makes 2 of us. So not very happy, apparently, Mark Cuban. And his son also posted on his Instagram story one of those montages of the fans outside the arena protesting. So the Cuban family as a whole seems to be pretty fucking angry about this all. And yeah, I guess just to quote Chandler Parsons one more time, he put out that Luka had just bought a new $15 million home in Dallas. So pretty low class behavior from the Mavs front office, I would say. Especially since this was working in the works for 2 weeks and they didn't tell Luka. So he bought a new house. I mean, just kind of not how you're supposed to operate in the modern NBA. But I don't know.
Bought
Maybe
a new house.
People feel different.
Yeah, bought a new house and effectively fucked him out of another 110 for the Supermax.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be 50, but then when they were talking about the numbers today, it was we can offer for 240 or something like that, and the Supermax was 350. I was like, damn, they fucked him out of $100 million. He's going to be on some crazy shit, true. And so that's what $15 million down the drain, plus the Supermax boning, so to speak.
I mean, Dallas is a nice place to have a second residence, I suppose.
Right? Yeah. That's his residence and stuff. So before we get into it, should we start with Mavericks side or we should start with Lakers side? Should we say our goodbyes to AD? Kind of give our thoughts on the trade. I mean, my thing is he was 6 years ago or 5 years ago, he made it very clear that he would not go to any other team besides the Lakers. Celtics were in for him, right? They really wanted him. Some other teams wanted him. He said, no place I'm going besides LA. He came here, he gave it his all, and then to get traded 5-6 years might seem a little harsh. What do you guys think about it?
I'm sorry, man. You just kind of have to do it. I don't really I feel
you got to give him his flowers, though. Come on, he was a great player.
Of course, I would. I'm not saying that, but I don't necessarily feel that it was harsh or ruthless. I mean, life is life. Sometimes, you're being offered one of the 3 best players in the league. I would say Anthony Davis is not one of the 3 best players in the league. And he's 6 years older. It comes at you fast in the NBA. I mean,
no equity you don't winning a ring.
What?
No equity for winning a ring.
I feel you can't. You just have to do it. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I had to do this. I don't really know what else to say about it. I feel it's unrealistic to think we owed him anything when it's fucking Luka Dončić, you know?
Brian, what do you think? You give a perspective on AD 6 years here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I truly think it's like a no hard feelings type of situations. He's put in a good 6 years, you know, like you mentioned. We were the only team that AD said he wanted to go to. We kind of like we honestly gave up a lot. Looking back at the assets we gave, everybody that we gave up is like quite good now, or has had carved up a pretty decent career. Had good years with us, a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, the ups are the championship. And, you know, people can say that, oh, you know, it's only one championship. It's whatever, the Mickey Mouse championship. A championship's a championship. You know, that really separates in your career from being, I mean, I don't really want to get too deep into it, but like seen two different ways, essentially. And, you know, AD has his ring. You know, he was pretty injury prone throughout his run, but past few years, he hasn't been as injury prone. And it's like, I don't think it's just like an AD thing specifically. We've been kind of, a lot of chatter has been like, what's kind of next? You know, I mean, amongst Laker fans, it's like, would you trade AD? Yeah, I'd be fucking down. You know, would you trade LeBron? Yeah, I'd be fucking down. Because like, it does seem like this run, as much as we've tried to get assets and build around those two particularly, are just not competing with the top of the top. And I think we just had to look for kind of the next steps. I honestly don't even think AD feels that bad. Like,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
there's no way to know. But do you any?
I would clarify. Yeah, I actually was pretty okay with going into the next phase building around AD. It's just like you never think this opportunity is going to fall at your doorstep. You kind of just have to do it. You can't pass it up. Like, it sets you up much better for the future. I would have not done it for like 99% of the league, but for Luka, you kind of just have to do it. There's maybe 5 players, 5 to like 7 players you would do it for, and that happens to be one of them.
Any regrets on the second iteration of the championship team? Do you think that if we'd kept those guys around, maybe we could have pulled out one more before Jokic really truly popped off?
Like, who are you talking about? That we
the year we lost to the Suns, after the year we lost to the Suns, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that year we lost to the Suns was probably the year, and they maybe rebuilt in an odd way that didn't work out, but like it did become significantly harder probably after that year.
That's fair. Okay, I'll just say for my final word on AD is he's truly one of my most favorite Lakers. I really appreciate, like I said, him kind of shutting the door and making kind of parting the seas to come to us. Brian said one championship. I'll also give him credit for the IST, which is some fans might snicker at, but I think going forward it'll mean a lot more. And the Western Conference run that no one expected, like we were not good that year, but just through the force of LeBron and AD, we went to the conference finals, lost to Denver. I think any other team might have had a shot to win. So, yeah, I am going to miss AD, I think, in first service, but it's really exciting now to think of Luka in the next 10 years. So
it's like unfathomable to think how easily that just happened. Just like
it's only Lakers, bro. Like it would have
been.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it was like a dream come true to get AD. Like, don't get me wrong, I was a bit
100%.
harsh, yeah, but like it's AD is like the rare. He's probably he had the most dominant season I've probably ever seen in college basketball, and like for him to actually live up to the promise of what he showed at that season in Kentucky is pretty rare. And like for him to then come to the Lakers and win a championship, yeah, it's better than you could have ever hoped for, considering where we were like 10 years ago. So yeah, like I'll always be thankful to him, but I'm just being realistic.
Yeah, the blue chippers of all the first round, like top tier talent that come in. You're right. Like not many of them will even make an all-star team or win a championship, and he did. So kudos to him. Should we move to Mavericks? More fun, a more fun side of it. So my first question to you two is: there's been some debate whether it was like me and Seebs were talking before you came on, Brian. Like, is it the owners pushing this? Was it Nico Harrison? Seebs fashion felt like he was really feeling himself. Do you think Luka actually asked out or made an indication that he's not going to sign the extension? And all of this is like kind of hearsay afterwards. What he said, like icing on the cake. What do you think?
Hey?
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot over the past couple of days, and I mean, like I was saying, I think it's pretty shocking. I mean, an indication of how shocking it is. It's when like the beneficiaries of the trade are trying to justify like how this even happened. You know what I mean? Like we're the winners of the trade, and we're like, dude, like how does this even happen? I think what it was, or combination of multiple things actually, is that I think that the relationship with Luka is probably much worse than we could have realized. I mean, throughout the years, you've seen indications like, oh, he's injured. He doesn't injure his management well. He doesn't manage his injuries well, et cetera, et cetera. And I think what to us was, and I think honestly justifiably so, like kind of written away by how well he was playing, maybe through, maybe to the front office. It might have been like a constant annoyance. I can honestly see that, how petty and annoying Luka can be on the court potentially is some way how he is off the court to the front office. Potentially, I'm just speculating, right? That like he might be making jabs of like, oh, like I'm playing so fucking well, like let me drink a fucking beer or some shit like that. You know what I mean? I can honestly see it. And I mean, it goes into the realm of conspiracy theory, but I am a bit on the side of how it is some sort of ownership waving. I don't think it's like completely, but I think there are kind of some priorities that the new ownership has with how they want to spend their money. I don't necessarily agree with exactly how people are portraying it, like, oh, they want to tank the team so it could go to Vegas and stuff like that. But I do think on some subtextual level that we just don't know, it might just be like ownership honestly just doesn't care as much about the basketball side and is looking more at like the pure business side. They don't want to pay Luka the supermax. That combined with Nico Harrison, potentially having like some tension with Luka, and rather than it just being like, oh, Nico Harrison cooked this up and it's all him. I think it's a combination of like, Nico probably wasn't as down for Luka in the long run, kind of brought it up to the front office. The front office is like, oh, like this actually kind of aligns with how we want to be spending our money in the future. And then you could be the fall guy or something like that. I think that's honestly kind of how I see it. And the only reason to loop it all back around, not the only reason, but why I see this as likely for me is that, I still don't understand the non-shopping at all. Yeah, like the complete hiding from Luka. Again, like, yeah, if it got out, I understand like trade rumors might have been a little bit would have affected the overall thing, but the only way that makes sense is if Nico is so convinced that like the key to the taking to Mavs to the next level is AD and AD alone, and that you're willing to trade the franchise cornerstone because AD is really that guy. That would be the only reason why it makes sense. And obviously AD is great. I think they are a good team still, but I just don't see that being the rationale to really upend, honestly, your whole organization.
That was really
in secret, honestly.
Okay. You wrapped it all up, but Seebs had a view on Nico Harrison. Why don't you tell us about that, Seebs?
Well, just to clarify, I've been listening to different reports on it pretty much the last few days, and it does, from what I understand, the Adelsons tend to stay out of meddling and kind of let their management at their companies like operate without like supervision, essentially. So like they let Mark Dumont and Nico Harrison kind of run the show, and Nico has a lot of power, and I do kind of just think this is Nico with like the ultimate heat check. I want to say Bill was the one who like said that. And to me, it reeks of like Nico thinking he's a little bit smarter than everybody else because he hit on the Kyrie trade, which everybody told him was a bad idea. He hit on PJ and Gafford last year, which was met with a lot of skepticism because of the price he paid. And I feel like this is just kind of him thinking, I know better than everybody else. And like, I know what I'm doing here. I know we need defense and we need Anthony Davis, and that's going to take us to the top. And he has a relationship with AD. I don't think that can be overlooked. And I kind of wonder if AD knew about the trade a little bit before because of his relationship with Nico. and like maybe it softened the blow for AD landing because I don't know. AD hasn't put out any like public angry set statement or anything. You
or
know,
even a
it's
goodbye
kind
to
of
LA.
I think he just
Yeah.
put a nice IG like "Thank you, Lakers." I think I just
Oh,
saw
did he?
like a
So
couple
so I
hours
guess
ago or something like that. Like,
maybe
hey,
he's okay. Yeah,
thanks, guys.
I was like at the dentist, so I did not see this, but
Oh, okay.
it's good to hear. Yeah,
It was all
like
part of it, yeah.
yeah, like so I don't know. Maybe like he had an inkling of an idea that this was going to happen, but yeah, like to me, what I'm getting from Nico is like I've hit on 2 trades that worked really well, or 3 trades that worked really well, and everybody told me were shit. So every trade I make, I know what I'm doing. And then you had Rob. Really, that's the type of thing that happens where I wonder if they're still going to be close friends because like Rob really comes out as like a sneaky fuck in this, and I respect him for it. So that's
Like
part of the
manipulative,
job.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Part of the job as a GM. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you do that. Like, but like the whole like we were supposed to give up Dalton and the 31st pick, and Rob was like, "Hey, man, I don't know, but that Lucas really drinks a lot and like doesn't take care of his body." And it's like, "Oh man, like Rob, you really put it in." And then I don't know, the chef's kiss is like fucking convincing a man who hates the Lakers, or not convincing, but tricking a man who hates the Lakers into like helping us get our next franchise cornerstone with like Ainge just being roped in and not knowing what he was facilitating. That's like the funniest shit ever. Ainge finds out and he's like, "Oh my god, like what have I done?" Like Rob really gets a lot of fucking credit for this one, and I've been harsh on him over the years, but this is like grade A plus GMing from Mr. Pelinka.
Yeah, I'm trying to formulate like it's this particular interaction of like what Rob has seemingly masterfully done of like really appealing to Nico's love for AD and like making it seem like, man, we really don't want to give this fucking guy. I mean, at some level that's probably true, but
Probably true.
we really don't want to give this guy up for Luka, who is a fat drunk or something, whatever, however, like however that conversation actually panned out, I just find so interesting of like, yeah, it's not even that we get Luka, it's that exactly what you said, we didn't even have to give up Connect, who seems to be a promising young star. Yeah, everybody's pointing the finger at like, how did the Lakers not even give up any more than one pick or any swaps or anything like that? So I'm very curious as to how Rob
we get a
Lowe is masterful. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's one of those things because Nico brought it up, and it's just like, when you're like at coffee with your friend, and he's just like, "Hey, bro, what if I gave you this crazy fucking deal?" Like, like what goes through your head? Like, holy shit! Like, I don't even know what to do right now. Like, how do you keep a straight face? Like, I think he actually didn't keep a straight face. He laughed apparently, which is like, I don't know, like when your boy's laughing in your face after you said something pretty insane, like how do you not reconsider? Like, what kind of shit are you on, man?
So I suppose my one question is, and I don't think so, but I think we should at least bring it up, is there's been some talks about the NBA and the ratings and wanting to prop up Lakers again. Any thought about that?
Stupid. Like just point blank. It's not. I don't know.
You don't think it?
Dallas is a huge market.
I'm playing devil's advocate, but in the history of Lakers, we do seem to get some things that shouldn't really go our way, and this is probably the biggest example of that. And so I can see why other fans and lesser franchises who don't win as much can get salty about this and think that someone
100%.
up top is pushing down on it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, kind of just like it's kind of earned from franchise success over the years and the location of the franchise.
People aren't gonna like that one, Sebastian.
But like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, life isn't always that fair in sports. I mean, like, look at European football, European soccer. Like, the same clubs always get the biggest players.
True, but they pay the most. We didn't pay the most.
Pay the most. No, but that's not really our fault. That's Nico Harrison's fault.
Yeah. I think it makes the go ahead, Sebastian, sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna say I think it makes the conspiracies more credible, but what I think
The
honestly, what
lack
I
of
think,
shopping, right, is the big thing.
yes, yes, but what I think actually proves it the other, not proves it, but like for me makes it less feasible that it's just some big conspiracy is like how bad the fleece was, I guess. If like I think if like a true conspiracy was going down, it would be a little bit more covered up, or
That's
like at least
actually
a
a
little,
good point.
a little bit, it wouldn't be so obvious. It's like, we're just gonna screw one team for the Lakers, you know what I mean? But the fact that that did happen is evidence to me that like it was just a better business dealing from our
Yeah.
end, honestly.
Also, like Dallas is still a huge market. It'd have to be like I don't want to pick on the Thunder, but yeah, it'd have to be
Even a
OKC.
Shea.
Have to be like Orlando, which yeah, Orlando has lost numerous players to us, but one was through free agency and their own fault. Um, I don't know. Like, I think what happens a lot of times is teams fuck up, and the Lakers are a very appealing option. Like, you look at how the Lakers landed Shaq. They insulted him with their offer for his extension, and he was like, "Fuck this! I'm not going back to you guys." So he came to LA because it's a huge marketing opportunity. They traded Blotty for Kobe. I mean, that's kind of a fleece, but like, I don't know. I don't know who the Hornets GM was at the time, but he probably didn't think this high school kid was going to thrive in Charlotte. I don't know. You look at how they landed Powell. That was what Jerry West, basically. You look at how they landed LeBron. LeBron saw it as like, I'm winding down, and it's a good marketing opportunity to come to Los Angeles. And then you look at this Luka one, and it's like Rob built a relationship with this GM over the years of him being a player agent and Nico being associated with Nike. And like, yeah, sometimes friendship. It made me realize the value of like networking when it comes to
Yeah,
this
honestly.
GM business. And I always kind of laughed at that when you'd play 2K, and it'd be like, you better build a strong relationship with this GM that makes the trades easier. And I was like, that's like a little bit much. And then like I'm like, damn, NBA 2K knew the value of networking and good relationships. Don't insult teams with your bad offers.
It's like, hey, Nico, it's just us, dude. It's chill, man. It's just
Uh,
us, dude. Don't even
the
worry
fact
about
that
it, dude.
Nico's like point blank offering up, yeah, dude, I was the one who brought it to the table. It was chill.
He thanks Rob. He thanks Rob for keeping it under
Yeah,
wraps. He's like,
yeah.
gotta say thank you to
What
Rob
is
for,
wrong with you,
making
bro?
sure. Yeah, it's like, dude.
Something that's been bothering me though is that like in the last 5 years we've seen like a shift towards more parity in the league, right? And we felt like if LeBron hadn't come, that free agent wouldn't have come. And the only like, was there any guarantee that if Luka hit free agency in 28, he would have come to us? It was via a trade, right? It was via a trade. So it's like a little bit different. Like, is the Lakers exceptionalism that we will always be the Lakers, we'll always be the free agent, mean more than it did in the past or less? Because I was kind of, in the last 5 years, I was feeling it as meaning less and less. And then we get Luka. So like, I don't know
but
anymore.
I think you're skipping over the part that we didn't go out and seek Luka. It
Yeah.
really just fell
He
at
was
our
gifted
door.
to us.
Fell
Like,
to our doorstep. Like, I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like, it had become slightly less appealing, I suppose. But like, really, this is just luck, man. Like, I don't really know how else to put it.
Can't believe it.
Yeah,
Can't
like,
believe it.
I don't know. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, Ashwin.
There you go.
And to go back on conversations we've had in the past, again, I don't think this is some kind of like sports gambling woo woo, but the fact I think there is some the fact, again, even if the Adelsons are very hands off about their management, I think obviously because they are owners of casinos, there is
They were. I don't think they are anymore.
Okay. I don't know if there's some influence there for sure. It's always like a cloud every time I don't know. I'm not positing as a conspiracy theory, but because sports gambling is so popular now, it's always a cloud that I view every issue with over, or like with that lens. Like there might be some influence there.
I'll move to my next question, but before, I just want to get your guys' opinion. Do you all agree that the Adelsons are trying to make some sort of gambling resort / casino either in Dallas or Vegas? Does that seem clear?
What seems to be a thing is that sports gambling is going to be legalized in Texas within the decade, maybe. it's not right now. So I don't know. There may be no pun intended, like gambling on that for a future business enterprise. But like, I believe that they're not in Vegas at all anymore, according to what I heard through my like 2 days of straight up listening to Luka related podcasts.
So,
Dude, it's gonna be like this for the next week.
Yeah,
Not even
probably.
2 days, dude. I'm gonna be on this all week until he plays. Literally.
I've listened to so much content about it.
Same.
I actually started to feel really, 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 really bad for Mavs fans the more I listened to that DLLS pod, dude. I listened to like 2 days straight, and I was just like, oh, dude, I feel so bad for these people. Like, we really, it made me like, I don't know, take them back, but not really, you know.
Not really.
Yeah, no.
It's just
not
three
really.
guys just like, oh my God. Like, you know,
I can believe it.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
even like our guy, Mark Stein, who I really like Mark Stein, local guy. I think he went to Fullerton, but he's been in Dallas for so long. He even was like pretty like, I can't believe this. Like, I don't know what to say to the people of Dallas. Like, it's like crisis point, man. I do really feel bad for them. Like, I don't know. Are we gonna get into like the impact on Dallas as a whole later, or should we just get into it now?
I mean, just last thing. I mean, just for Dallas fans, last thought on Dallas fans, like, you know, Jeremy Chen is a Dallas fan. He's, you know, family's from Dallas, and I was hanging out with him, you know, on the weekend before this happened. Not like this past weekend, but like the weekend prior. And we had hung out, and I was literally we were just talking about the Mavs, and I was literally talking like, oh, you know, the Mavs aren't playing well right now, and I really think once Luka comes back, you guys are going to go on a huge run like you guys did last year, and then end up as like a fourth or fifth seed or something like that. And he was like agreeing with me, and like, yeah, we were just like on a big, you know, I love Luka too, you know, even prior to being a Laker. It was like, yeah, like I just think Luka's so sick. And then this trade happens, and I text him like, dude, like, what's going on? He's just like, I'm sick, dude. I'm just sick. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel ill. You know, he's just like, I just feel ill. Like, we were just talking last week about this. So I
actually feel like Luka might be the most popular athlete in the city of Dallas or the DFW area. And that's like quite a statement when you have the Cowboys, who are like definitely the number one team. But like, I think Luka was on that like Dirk level of popularity where it was like he transcended even anybody on the Cowboys and was like the most popular athlete in the city. You read about his community outreach. He was very involved in charitable efforts, or he would go visit orphanages. Like, he really bought in. I mean, I'd see him at Cowboys games and he'd always tweet during Cowboys football, like playoff games, big games. He like really bought into the whole I'm a part of this community thing, and they kind of just like spit in his face and also spit in the entire fan base's face by getting rid of a pillar of the community. It kind of made me feel like if Kobe had left that one summer, he was like really teasing, I'm gonna go to Chicago, or I'm gonna go to I think you're just gonna go to the Clippers, but that's kind of like doesn't count it doesn't count as being an LA community person, I suppose. But like it just kind of made me feel like if we had lost Kobe, we probably would have had like the same type of flip out, dude, where it was just like, like what the fuck is this? Like, I'm done with being so
we
like
probably hit just as hard.
So like I just feel like that made me feel so bad for them, because like I don't know how you recover as a team. Like, you're gonna lose the season ticket sales. I've heard they've lost like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram since the trade happened. Like they're probably like people are not gonna be down to support the team anymore. You see all these, I'm a former Mavs fan, now I'm a refugee looking for a new team to support. It's just like really sad, man. Like, they really spit in the face of the whole city, honestly.
True.
That's how I feel about it. And I mean, I made the joke that like, because I don't, you guys probably haven't followed, but the Cowboys' new head coaching hire was not a very popular move. It was very like, oh, cool, we hired
right?
Brian Schottenheimer, who he's like a lifelong assistant who like nobody ever really thought of as a head coaching candidate, and people were pretty done with Jerry Jones. And now like Jerry Jones is probably like ecstatic Saturday night when this happened. He was just like, I'm not even the most hated man in Dallas anymore, and just like probably was so happy. Like, and it's just like these people have been through too much sports wise in the last year.
It's just an epic like it's like a
Rug
true.
pull. It's a huge rug pull.
Yeah, exactly. It is like that. It's a true action that says that the front office literally doesn't care, or even like the organization literally doesn't care about its fans. Like the one guy that they've invested, people have put their kind of heart into. They just literally, and who again, it's like we can't forget, like he literally just took them to the finals. So it's not like he's been not playing well. We could repeat everything that's been said, 5-time first All NBA, et cetera, et cetera. I was even reading, I don't know how much I agree with this, but I was even reading like on subreddits and stuff like, if somehow even if they do win, people were saying this, somehow if we even win the ring in the next 2 years, it will just feel so empty. You know what I mean? Like Luka was like our homegrown guy, obviously that's overreactionary and I don't necessarily agree with that, but
I do.
It is that kind of like, there's more to the fandom, I guess, than just pure business. That I think this is a little bit short-sighted. Exactly. Sure. Yeah.
I think it's true though. I actually do think like it would take like maybe 2 or 3 championships for them to actually feel good about this. Because I really do feel like, you see, I don't think one championship is going to solve it. I feel like it's maybe the only instance I can ever think of in sports where I would say a championship does not cure your trade, basically.
They're homegrown guy.
Yeah,
they're homegrown guy. So
there's such a community impact. Yeah.
So I guess just to follow up with some real quick questions is, does this end the Rob slander? Is he just goated now?
I think so.
He's got a lot of leeway. I'll put it that way. Maybe more leeway than any GM in the history of basketball. But you never want to say it ends it.
Yeah. You make a good point, Seebs, where like Nico was killing it with the moves, and then in a moment, it's just, but yeah, I agree.
I mean, look at Krause now.
Do the buses escape any scrutiny from this? Like, how many years does this buy the buses? 10, you would think, right? At least 8 to 10.
Maybe a long ass time. There's that's probably the bigger benefactor of this. Jeannie probably is safe. Jeannie, Jay Moore, Linda, and Kurt Rambis all very safe right now.
So, actually, I went in. If you guys indulge me on this, I went and looked at salary cap spending over the last 5 years, and I thought, like, are the buses really doing investing as much as they should, considering they have 1A or 1B franchise in the league, right? Probably 1A. Right. And I compared it to Chicago. Chicago obviously is notoriously cheap. Ryan Stark is notoriously cheap, but they're in a big market as well. So over the last 5 years, we have LeBron. We've been 5th, 4th, 7th, 8th, and 6th in spending. Okay? Compare that to Chicago. Chicago's been 14th, 21st, 12th, 15th, and 24th. So while they do spend, I was actually a little disappointed that they weren't in the top 3 every year. I think that is the source of criticism. Like, maybe it's because of the way the cap is restructured and stuff, but I think if you have truly the hallmark or like marquee franchise, you should be spending top 3 every year. I don't know what you guys think.
I'd have to put it into context to see who's above us, because you can't always, like, you can't.
No, it's Boston Clippers for sure.
Boston Clippers, I would assume the Suns, probably Golden State. I don't know if they still are, but they were for years. The Knicks, maybe. Like, sometimes though, it comes down to like acquiring the talent, and then when you have the bird rights, overpaying them. And I don't know that we've done that, so I don't know that you can be too critical of underspending. When I hear, I was expecting to be lower, so I'm actually.
I know you would expect to be lower, but I was actually, I'm a little more pro Bus family than you, Sebastian. But even then, I was like a little disappointed at like when you have LeBron and AD like making some of the monetary decisions they made. I don't know what you think, Brian. A little disappointing. You have LeBron at age 38 to 40, and you're not spending the money. I don't
know. Yeah, I mean, it is, I would say, a little bit disappointing. I think if anything, it's that has been the criticism, just like, not trying to spend enough money to.
They don't have bomber money, right? They can't spend with impunity.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand how. That's what I'm saying. Context is really important. Like, I'd have to know what you wanted them to do, and then you would have to have that on. Like most of these people who spend more than us, I would assume they've acquired somebody, then they've extended them and gone way over the cap once they have the bird rights that allow them to go way over the cap. We've only had like AD and Braun who would be worthy of those type of max contracts. We got Reeves at a discount, which was kind of like
The two I can think of
Yeah.
were Caruso and KCP, where they chose
Caruso's
not
the
to.
big fuck up. That's fair.
Maybe KCP in hindsight wasn't that bad. We probably should let him go. He did have a couple good years in Denver, but
No, we traded him for Russell. That was a huge fuck up.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Second question is how competitive. I talked with Andrew a lot about this today, but how competitive do you think this year, provided we get a center, which I think is the bare minimum we can ask for, really.
I think more competitive than people think.
4 or 5 seeds
Me
still?
too.
Oh,
I think more competitive than people think. Obviously,
more competitive than we were with AD.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe not more, but I'd say I wouldn't. Okay, I'm not gonna bet all my cards on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if just similar or a little notch worse. I think we'd still be competing. Maybe anywhere from 6 to 8 seed, which is what I think we're at. Like we're like competing for like 5 to 4 right now. I people are anticipating because we give up AD, we're going to go on like this massive slide, which could definitely happen. But if Luka is healthy, I mean, I guess that's a big question mark as well. I do trust in like the offensive genius of basically two guys. You can literally say two of the most gifted offensive players of all time, or in terms of the chess game of basketball. And I think that we do keep it competitive, and at the very least, stay in the play-in. And I'm not saying like 9-10 play-in. I'm saying like 7-8 play-in. And it depends on who the center is. Hopefully, Jackson Hayes starts watching some film so that he actually can run a damn play, or do what Derek Lively does, just fucking run towards the basket. And Derek Lively's a good player. Derek Lively's a good player.
Come on.
Yeah. But that same build is I mean, that's my complaint. They have a similar build, and it's somehow Derek Lively's just way better, and Hayes seems to be like some, just can't seem to run a single play ever. But yeah. So I still think we'll compete for sure.
Seebs lean the other way, though. You think we're going to be a little bit better?
Yeah, I'd probably say we were a little bit better. I think
So
the ceiling
really?
is
Might
80
hit 4 for 3 seed or 4 or 3 seed, maybe?
No, I mean, I don't know. I think we'll finish in a later round in the playoffs than we would have before. I don't know about the seeding. I could see this team like I don't want to be too bold. Like I could see anything from like a tough like 7-game first round loss, or like to like a Western Conference Finals run somehow. I just think Luka and LeBron is such a nightmare for teams to defend. Like I really think people are overlooking that. Simmons is the only one I heard actually say like I wouldn't want to play that team in a series, and I kind of tend to lean that way the more I think about it.
Yeah.
Luka's taken way worse talent farther in the Western playoffs. You look at like who he took that year when they played the Warriors. He didn't really have much helping him. So I don't know. I kind of lean, even like somehow they get to like, I don't want to say the finals, but like they lose in the Western Conference Finals. It wouldn't shock me,
It would be sick. LeBron, like the
nothing would shock me because it's Luka and LeBron. Like,
yeah.
I really think people underestimate that. I think LeBron's going to be pretty good off ball, but people say that. I don't think they've been watching a lot this year because LeBron likes taking possessions off and letting Reeves run the offense.
Yeah.
It kind of saves his legs for later in games. People are like, "Oh, Ron's terrible off ball. Luka's terrible off ball," and Luka played off ball when I first started seeing him when he was like 17 and 18 years old. Like he was not always this heliocentric player. He's a lot smarter and malleable than people give him credit for, I'd say.
What I don't want is it's my turn, it's your turn. Like that's what I could fear. That's what I fear. It could still work, but to reach the highest levels of this tandem, I feel like it can't just be my turn, your turn. They're gonna have to work together, run picks for each other, and like maybe LeBron might have to cut off ball. LeBron can't just sit in the corner. I mean, he can, but it will end up being the Luka turnaround 3, which he makes a lot.
You're probably right.
Like that's not. I don't know. I guess last two questions really quick, unless you have anything else, would be how do you think JJ navigates this? It's kind of a step up, right? Change.
I think it's a good thing.
He's pretty smart.
Yeah, I think Sebastian mentioned there. They like each other. I think at the very least, JJ will have a good way of reaching Luka, and I think it's good influences, right? Like not just JJ, but LeBron too. Like, hey man, you could easily see them in his ear, just like, dude, like Nico thought you were fat, bro. Like both of them.
I don't think he's gonna do that. I don't think you need to do that because I think it's
Luka's already on some shit. I think both JJ and LeBron are kind of. I mean, JJ himself always says, I'm a sicko. You know what I mean? And like, I think, but obviously, it won't be as blatant as like, oh, like Nico thought you were fat. But I do see JJ kind of pushing that button to take Luka to another level that I feel very optimistic about that, honestly.
Just like
that, I could agree with.
Yeah, really what I wanted to outline is that we all saw like in the finals last year, there were plays where like even Luka would take off during the finals defensively, and I worry that if JJ calls him on it, it might lead to like a degradation of the relationship or something in a way that LeBron can. I don't think JJ can yet because he hasn't won. So I really got LeBron sticking around, but that's what my worry was. Like we know he's a savant offensively, but if LeBron, AR, and Luka are on the court in some capacity, they're gonna some of those guys have to play defense, and
I don't think you can have all three. I think you have to have two of the three. Maybe you close with all three and like a Vando or somebody to.
That's what I was thinking. You have to put if you're going to start the lineup with like Jackson, LeBron, Luka, Vando, and then AR. Maybe you could make it to work.
I think it would be DFS.
DFS, okay.
Hey, they used to play together too.
Yeah. Dodo, bro. That's what Luka calls.
Yeah, that's kind of chill. That's kind of chill.
It literally is like his best friend. It was his best friend on the Mavs.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, that's chill. Very chill. I guess that was my last thing. It pains me to even ask this question because I want to stay high and elevated right now. But do you think any of this, like, is there any part of you, even like 1%, that worries that Nico Harrison might be right and that we might?
No.
Sebastian says no. Brian.
I mean, the fact that I'm even taking this long, maybe less than 1%. I don't know. I think I just saw him in the finals limping, literally bleeding, out of shape, whatever, and still taking them to the finals. So my only worry comes from that it's just so out of nowhere rather than an actual concern for Luka himself. It's more so like, did Nico know something that we don't? Or is his head really this far up his ass? You know what I mean?
No,
that's basically where my fear comes from. Is like, does he actually see something, or is he really? I don't know. Yeah, is he really so down on Luka? Which I mean, it honestly is seeming like, and I don't know. If anything, I'm just happy.
Luka was probably
stay happy. Right,
I want to say, I think Luka is probably the most can't miss prospect I've ever seen, like besides LeBron, obviously. I would say even maybe over Wemby, because there were ways you could see, Wemby maybe, like, I don't know about this when he was coming up. But I pretty much believed in Luka since like the moment I saw him in Eurobasket 2017. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. How's this like 17 or 18-year-old kid like the best player among all these like grown ass men, including like NBA players? I mean, I think Dragic won MVP of Eurobasket, but like Luka was pretty much on par with him. And this was like prime Goran Dragic, whatever. You get what I'm talking about. But yeah, like, I don't know. I would be really shocked. I kind of just don't. This is the dude. We're trying to like give credit to the dude who called Steph Seth in the Nike meeting. I'm not really down to do that. Like, I'm not trying to be like. I found it gross that he saw the backlash he was getting and immediately came out and was like, Luka's fat. Like, all right, man. Like, that's me. And like, he didn't say it like that, but that was basically the implication. It's like, all right, man. Like, that's like when you like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but yeah, like I don't want to get too vulgar, so I just won't. Like,
Well,
that's basically
of
how
all
I
the,
felt. Yeah.
even if that 1% of me believed it, I feel like there's no one better to learn from than LeBron. Like it's kind of dirty to say it loud, but I feel like Luka's body is $1 billion product, right? It's if not more. Like everything he on his body is worth $1 billion, and LeBron has managed to like realize that and like invest $1, $2, $3 million a year to upkeeping that. And I hope some of it wears onto Luka in the same way that Kobe's work ethic kind of rubbed off onto D-Wade, Carmelo, and LeBron in 2008 Dream Team. I think there was a lot of stories from that. I hope there's something along those lines. People are talking about LeBron getting them onto wide instead of Breer. Like I'm down for all of this.
Just a general thing I go by in life is like
getting philosophical.
when you're like when everybody says something is very fucking stupid and you're the only person who's like, no, I think it's really smart. It's probably really fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
That's kind of generally like it's very rare that 1 person out of 1 million is right.
Yeah.
Like,
you got to get at least a few people on your side,
yeah,
dude.
I hate to be like a conformist, but like if it's like maybe like 40,000 people out of 1 million people think it's that's even kind of low, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if you have like 4% of people agree with you, maybe it's chill. But when it's like literally you're the one voice who thinks you're smarter than 1 million people, you're not. You're probably very dumb. That's like generally what I go off of.
Yeah. And that one guy on your side can't be Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins doesn't really seem to be that. Kendrick Perkins was not that. He thought it was a bad trade from what I saw.
He was saying that he did he. I thought I saw some. I mean, he's just saying shit. But I think I saw him say like
he says both sides all the time.
Yeah, like that the Mavs won this trade. I'm pretty sure he said that.
Well, then he changed his tune from Saturday night. He must have like gone home and thought this is gonna be great for my take career.
Yeah,
if I
exactly.
Like very insincere, but yeah, like I haven't heard anybody say it was a good trade. Like basically, anybody respectable, I guess, would be.
And I think just for like one of my final notes, I just think from like a narrative perspective, it's so hard to digest really how crazy this is. Like, yeah, like Luka in LA, you know, I was saying like, you know, he has like the same killer swag as like Kobe, you know, so there's obviously some kind of narrative component to that. Like, you know, there was never anybody that you would think like, oh, he could actually maybe get Kobe's 81 or something like that. But Luka's like one of those guys like, oh, fuck, he's kind of one of those guys that could maybe do it. That, like, I don't even still think I'm processing like the LeBron to Luka baton pass to like end LeBron's career and to like as Luka enters his prime, like there's just this weird, awesome, very awesome as a Laker fan, but like this weird baton pass that, yeah, like LeBron is going to shepherd in Luka's prime. Yeah, exactly. After he's been slighted by Nico Harrison or whatever, it's like I think from a narrative perspective, this is just very LA, very Lakers, and I feel for the Mavs fans out there, but however this goes, no matter how it goes, it's like I'm gonna enjoy this, dude. I still haven't processed that, like this whole issue of like what does post LeBron Lakers look like, and what that post LeBron Lakers looks like is let's build around Luka fucking Dončić, who has been like, it's just like it's so absurd. It's just like an absurd thing to say out loud, you know? It's like, oh, fucking awesome, dude. Like this is great. So that's kind of my last note.
Yeah, Seebs, you want a final word? I already said my final word. Unless you want to say something else,
I feel like I ended it well with my whole, like, I just really think it was a very, very.
Harrison's an idiot.
Yeah, kind of, but maybe I don't know. I guess you have to give the guy like 0.001 chance of being right. Maybe I should be nicer to him. He's done well for himself in life, but I don't know. I kind of think it reminds me, and I was pretty annoyed when Calvin Booth made that whole thing about like we're trying to win 5 championships out of the next 10 years or whatever. Like that was his whole thing, and it really came back to bite the Nuggets in the ass came back to bite him in the ass when you looked at how the Nuggets last season ended. But I feel like I have to apologize to Calvin Booth for a lot of the bad things I've said, because even though he gave off "I'm smarter than everybody else" energy at the time, he kind of
Prove
it's
you
been
wrong.
rectified.
Prove
He had a
himself right.
vision. He did have a vision, and I actually do think the Nuggets are trending in the right way. What Nico did, I actually don't think shows a lot of vision. I kind of just feel like it's very short-sighted. It's not long-term. I do think the Mavs are going to have significant challenges offensively, and yeah, I think the Lakers. I have a feeling this is going to end up looking like the worst trade in basically sports history. At the end of, like, I actually
There you
can't think
go.
of anything worse. Yeah.
You cannot end it better, but the
Yeah.
end result of the worst trade in sports history is that the LA Lakers and we have Luka Dončić. So no complaints here.
Not complaining, though.
Not
Just
complaining.
No complaints.
feel really bad for my Dallas brethren who we were going through. I'm a Cowboys fan, as most people know, and my heart bleeds for you. There's a lot of Cowboys fans who are Laker fans too, so I don't know. It's complicated, but I do feel bad for the Dallas area fans.
Yeah, I did too. It was rough, but like I said, over in LA we're partying. We're chill over here. Thank you, Brian and Sebastian, for joining me. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining.
Peace.